Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Efeni. Great Malabite.
Good morning, Dr. Ruben Abati.
Morning, sir.
Good morning,
Morning, sir.
Mr. Rufai Oseni.
Morning, sir.
Rufai without L. Yes.
Morning.
We'll start the review with this day Nigeria's newspaper of record. The lead story, FEC approves 27.5 trillion appropriation bill for 2024, revises exchange rate to 750 naira to the dollar, oil benchmark now $77.96. OK's $1 billion AFDB concessionary loan. Oyedele-led tax reforms committee briefs FEC. Council approves Nigeria's draft human rights report to the United Nations. Tinubu presents 2024 appropriation bill to National Assembly tomorrow. Abbas will give Nigerians avenue to participate in budget process. Yes, yesterday, the periodic Federal Executive Council meeting held. Of course, under the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, we will now have a FEC meeting on demand. And yesterday was a very important issue to be considered. Yes, the appropriation bill for 2024, the budget 2024, and the approval given by FEC. And of course, on Wednesday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will transmit that when he will read, as the case may be, his budget before the National Assembly. And of course, the Guardian newspaper is reporting the story, as usual, with graphics. Yes, Guardian doing a great job with his graphics these days. Kudos to the Guardian newspaper. Yes, now, $1 trillion economy. Federal government proceeds with unambitious budget, proposes 27.5 trillion naira next year. Of course, the deficit in that budget is 9 trillion naira. Yes, and the key estimates are as follows. Yeah, inflation 21.4%. That's the projection. Then economic growth 3.76% growth in GDP there. Then oil production 1.8 million barrels per day. Right now we're at 1.4. I hope we can achieve that even before the beginning, 1.8 before the kick of next year, 2024. Otherwise, of course, the budget will be in jeopardy. And of course, the oil price benchmark is $77. Exchange rate, 750 naira to the dollar. Yes, Rufa, you were questioned. Yes, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister for Economy said the fair value of the naira is 700 naira to the dollar. Well, reality check. So, 750 is what the government is now projecting. And of course, it means all the borrowings, all the securitization of NLNG dividends to get about $3 billion from the Afro-Exim Bank perhaps will not be enough to even deal with the forex demands, as it were. So 750, but if we look at what is even going on at the official exchange rate, the iron window, it has even gone beyond that. So we'll see how the government will.
It's still over 1,000.
Yeah, so I don't know how the government will do that, but that's why we voted them in. That's why Mr. Wale Edu has been given that responsibility. So let him have the headache on behalf of all of us and solve the problem. Now, the Punch newspaper also reporting that story. Tinubu presents budget Wednesday. FEC OK's $1 billion loan. Of course, the Blueprint newspaper. Let me take the story just above the lead first. The Blueprint newspaper. Federal government to unveil blueprint on nationwide digital switch over. Malagi. Well, Blueprint newspaper telling us the federal government will unveil a blueprint. I'm sure no pun was intended there by the editor of the newspaper. But of course, the lead story also on the budget. Federal Executive Council OK's AFDB's $1 billion support loan for 27.50 Trillion 2024 budget estimates. Now, if we look at other stories, the Daily Trust newspaper is reporting will never be overwhelmed by mob, says Chief Justice of Nigeria. Judges must avoid embarrassing judiciary. Yadudu. Courts deciding election winners bad for polity. PDP leaders, of course, Chief Bode George, PDP chieftain, elder statesman. Yes, he led some PDP leaders yesterday talking about how the courts have been deciding cases concerning election petitions. Well, that's part of the democratic process, but when the judgments are contradictory, as many have pointed out, it becomes an embarrassment. And I'm sure, well, the Chief Justice of Nigeria knows that very well. And he referenced that yesterday, but he's saying the judiciary will never be overwhelmed by mob, says Chief Justice. Well, the Daily Sun newspaper reporting that story, war over judiciary, the Daily Sun newspaper. Courts pushing Nigeria to anarchy, but the judge being quoted there. We won't replace law with mob emotion, Chief Justice of Nigeria. Yes, Ruben used to say, well, the court of public opinion can say whatever, but the court of justice is matter of law. Well, the court of public opinion will continue to have a say. Create the platform for people to air their views. But judges, like Caesar's wife, must live above board. Some of the allegations we hear these days, including the one made by the retiring retiring Supreme Court judge. Of course, not something that anybody in the judiciary should be proud of. Now, if we look at the Vanguard newspaper, the lead story also quoting the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justices fight back. We can't replace law with emotion. Chief Justice of Nigeria says judges won't be afraid of intimidation with independence. Scores third arm highly. Adds rule of law in Nigeria questionable since 1999. Discloses National Judicial Council ready to receive petitions against election tribunal judges. Swears in 58 new senior advocates of Nigeria. Tax them on professionalism, integrity. Chief Justice of Nigeria's confession of external influences troubling. Articles 8. Societies fail when public confidence in judiciary fails. Labour Party. Civil society organizations fought. Chief Justice of Nigeria, AGF, tasked new senior advocates of Nigeria on professionalism. Others. So much to chew about the judiciary. Yesterday, of course, the Chief Justice of Nigeria opening the new legal year, and of course, swearing in new senior advocates of Nigeria. A lot to talk about. Of course, some stock taking there for the judiciary. Ruben, I know that is your turf. You will have a lot to say on that. Now, the New Telegraph newspaper, why Buhari's Nigerian air won't work as conceived by federal government. Federal Executive Council raises 2024 budget proposal to 1.5 trillion, pegs dollar at 750. I think we've taken all that short while ago. But concerning the scanners, the Blueprint newspaper on its front page there is saying that the federal government approved 3.23 explosive narcotic scanners for 5 airports. Perhaps we need to add that detail. These are narcotic and explosive scanners. I don't know whether that has given us further details to around that cost. But if we know the reputation of Nigeria, how drug barons, drug couriers slip through our airports only to embarrass the nation at the other end, we need to pay more attention to...
But drug barons don't put drugs in their bags. They swallow, they ingest.
Well,
they don't put drugs in their bags.
So whatever the scanners are for, explosive, narcotic scanners, That's the description of the scanners we're talking about. Yes. Now, the Business Day newspaper, Japa Wave empties construction site. The Business Day newspaper there. Yes. These days, to get skilled artisans is even very difficult. Then to get project managers, supervisors, and construction site is becoming a problem because many of these skilled men are also leaving the country. The wave of Japa emigration to other climes, where they think the grass is greener. But we know that many who have left this country have also had sad stories to tell about their relocation. Now, if we look at the Nation newspaper, the lead story, the Nation newspaper, Akeredolu Ayedatiwa peace agreement heads for collapse. Deputy governors loyalists pushing lawmakers to make him acting governor. I stand on Abuja deal. Speaker insists. But yes, whatever was the terms of the settlement, but can't they just follow the law? If the governor is incapacitated, can't the deputy governor be pronounced as acting governor so that he can act? But what we're seeing is that some people around the governor who is incapacitated and is in faraway Ibadan are trying to ensure that Ayedatiwa does not even govern the state. The state needs to be governed. But the other side of it, I don't know the kind of medical facilities you have at Ibadan that in almost how many years Akeredolu did not put in his own state. That is Ondo State. Ondo State is one of the first that established a University of Medical Sciences. It's in Ondo City. I know that. So can't they equip that institution so that their teaching hospital will be a reference point? I'm sure going forward, the people of Ondo, those who govern Ondo, House of Assemblymen, should look at that so that you can have the best medical facilities in Ondo State. So that when a governor is sick, he doesn't stay in Ibadan. Ruben, I don't know whether I've made that point. I have to drive that home. Now, let's just look at one foreign newspaper. Quickly, the Times of London. Hamas demands higher price to set soldiers free. Yes, Israel in talks to secure more hostages. Well, the hostage exchange and the pause in the war, the Gaza war, I think it's going on well. They've added another 2 days. Of course, hostages are being released. But this should point to the direction of ceasefire and end this crisis and let people talk. Ruben, I'm sure you agree with me on that.
Well, I mean, the latest development, kudos to Egypt and Qatar, who have to mediate in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. What you now know is that there's been an extension of 2 days, although Hamas is saying it's going to set a higher price for further releases. Within the 2 days of
especially the release of Israeli soldiers.
Yes, of the troops.
Captured.
It is expected that more persons, close to about 20 persons again, will be released from the other side. Well, the other thing to note here is that the whole details of it, the story coming out, is so frightening, embarrassing. Look at the Kulio twins. 3-year-olds were taken as hostages. A 4-year-old boy, Edan, was also taken as hostage. Look at innocent children being caught in this major crossfire. And what is even worse is that the Palestinians that have been released, going back to the Gaza Strip, many of their families are not so excited because it's like if hostilities resume, you never know what could happen. But across, you see that this is a crisis of international dimension. And unfortunately, we live in a world where peace has become elusive. But Antonio Guterres, is right to have shown some enthusiasm. That's the UN Secretary General, about the fact that, the ceasefire has been extended. And as you pointed out, it will give opportunity for further negotiations, even if Benjamin Netanyahu is saying that, well, it's not over until it is over. But very quickly, I was going to talk about the subject you drew my attention to, which is the Chief Justice of Nigeria.
Yes.
At the commencement of the new legal year, and the swearing of a new Sikh. Well, first about the Sikh, congratulations to all 58 of them. But I noticed that the body of senior advocates of Nigeria said more academics should be involved, which is, a point of advocacy by that committee that was set up to advise the NJC. You have only just one academic in this entire list of 58 persons. But, it's a major privilege to become a senior advocate of Nigeria. And we congratulate all the persons who have made it, including some of my friends there, Kayode Ajulo, Ayo, and also notably Mrs. Fumi Falano, the spouse of Femi Falano, SAN, the mother of Fowles.
AKA Mama Fowles, the bad guy.
The mother of Fowles,
yes.
And now the Falanos. You have husband and wife as senior advocates of Nigeria. There are other families like that. The Awomolos, Chief Adiwega Awomolo and his wife, Chief Mrs. Victoria Awomolo. They are both senior advocates. I think Professor Epiphany Azinge, and his wife, Mrs. Valerie Azinge, they are also both senior advocates of Nigeria. So must be quite a moment, for their children to live in the same house with two senior advocates. But to the major points made by the Chief Justice of Nigeria, one, he says Nigeria should be less litigious and that people should look for opportunities to embrace alternative dispute resolution, or what is otherwise called the multi-door courthouse system, which they have here in Lagos. When it was introduced in Lagos,
it was working very well in Lagos.
It was a major, innovation, and Lagos showing leadership at that time. And the whole thing is that
there are you want to add?
Yes, under President Tinubu and former Vice President, and former President, Professor Commissioner for Justice, as Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice.
Yes.
Negotiation, arbitration, mediation, conciliation. These are some of the methods, arbitration. These are some of the methods of alternative dispute resolution, whereby the parties involved say, okay, away from the courthouse, let us, reconcile, let us mediate. So it's conciliatory. It is by mutual consent, and it takes less time. It is private. The kind of hostility that you see among counsel in courthouse does not exist. So, it's a very...
It eliminates bad blood among those who are contesting for whatever.
You are very correct. So you see that, alternative dispute resolution is a subject that is now being taught in law faculties across the country. The CJN is also recommending that, look, maybe some of these cases should end at the Court of Appeal, so that you don't have the Supreme Court being overburdened. And people will say, oh, Supreme Court justices are wasting time. Number three, he's saying that...
with what I'm seeing at the Appeal Court giving contradictory judgment, it should end there.
Well,
some of us we have reservations now.
This will require further empowering the judicial system, and rebuilding trust and confidence in the judicial system.
And certified through copy that is not certified.
Well, but the CJN...
At the Appeal Court level.
But the CJN said, if you look at the workload of the Supreme Court or the courts, in the last 1 year, they've done a lot. It says it is impressive. And that people, they don't have the system by condemning judges. He says under his watch, the full complement of 21 judges on the Supreme Court bench, will be completed. And that work has been ongoing on this. Already,
there's a
short list has been published. At the moment, we have 10 justices on the Supreme Court bench. So the full complement of 21, if they have that full complement, that will be, the very first time that they're achieving that objective. So, this is where we are. A new legal year is starting, but Justice Olukayode Ariwola will be retiring next year at 70 upon the attainment of the mandatory retirement age of 70. And it looks like he wants to, what is that phrase we were quoting yesterday from Edo State? He wants to finish strong. But as Nigerians will say, they will say all eyes on the judiciary. As for the new Sikh, we wish them well. And we hope that they will operate as, true officers in the temple of justice.
Okay, Rufai.
So one thing is certain, we wish the new Silk well. In fact, I saw a video of Fowles and his mom dancing, and he was singing for his mom. Very celebratory mode, you know. Still looking forward to when our own dear Onikekpo, Brentwood, will also be made a son. And I would just like to encourage her that she should keep pushing. Definitely it's going to come. It will be long before it comes. Also, I would like to react to what the Chief Justice said. It will be very utopian not to have a litigious society with the failure of our institutions. And I want to be quoted on this. It will be very utopian not to have a litigious society with a complete failure of our institutions. Where should we start
Not all
from?
our institutions, some of them.
Largely, electoral institutions.
Okay, you have to be specific.
INEC. It will be very utopian.
Even at that, you can't say INEC is total failure.
So I'm also going to prove the precepts one, which I call a total failure. A total failure is where the strength of every election is the election sheet that you filled. But the election sheet are already in the hands of people and they fill those sheets before the election. It's as good as not having elections. Let's not deceive ourselves. Also, till today, a very fundamental part of the 2020 elections, transmission via IREV. There was a technical glitch. Today, we've not investigated why was it only the presidential election
that we had that glitch.
Other elections that were held that they were going through. Also, is it with the legal system that now we don't know what is pre-election or post-election matter again? Is it with the legal system that the registrar was so quick to say, oh, it's just an error, I will quickly correct it for you, until lawyers like Olani Peku and Co. How does that tell you that? See,
no, it has left. The ship has left your
has left your saddle. Please
Only
be
the Supreme
careful
Court
about it. So you wonder that in the legal system, don't we have people that, you know, a chief registrar understanding the precepts of law? So you see, it is where you have a society that there's a definite level of justice. Anyway, you can't have a society like that. There's an appreciable level of justice. That's where you can have, you know, those open door settlement mechanism. But in a society where every party feels very much unfairly treated, I'll give you an instance. At first, the runner-up in the Kogi election said he was not going to go to court. I was reading the papers the other day, he's already asking INEC for the documents so that he'll be able to look at it and review it legally. We had systems that were quite tenable. 2050 elections, INEC at least performed beyond the level at which it's performing now. And that's one of the most least litigious elections in recent times, in 2015. So today we are having immense litigation again. It's because of the system. And yes, there were challenges in the 2015 election, don't get me wrong. But you can hardly fault INEC like we are faulting them now, and also the judiciary. So I think the charge, you know, the CJ
I think
said,
the problem with this last election is that INEC overpromised and underperformed. That's why it becomes so glaring. It's not as if previous elections were just 100% perfect.
No, we're not saying they were 100% perfect.
They overpromised, and
so
at the end of the day, underperformed.
The question is, with the way Nigerians have been denied the dividends of democracy, is overpromising by INEC, should it be too much to even ask for? All we are just saying for free and fair elections. That's what we are saying. So are we saying that since we started holding elections in this country, we can't at least have elections that have a sane resemblance of something that people can collectively, adopt? Why do we keep talking about June 12th till today? Why is it that 30 years ago is still our standard for elections? So you see, it's the hard truth we don't tell ourselves in society. That's why we are sinking as a society. That's the reflection in our economy, our lifestyle, and all of that. So that's going to be my reaction. And for those that always talk about court of public opinion, it's rife. If court of public opinion sees a certain level of justice is done, it will not even have proof to be able to say these things. It's because we are found wanting constantly in the court in these things. That's why we are saying them. Nobody wants to come here and say things are not working every day. If things are working, you will sound stupid because there's no evidence on ground. There's no empirical facts. So we wish those that have been nominated a lot of luck. We hope, like Caesar's wife, they will be aboard board. We hope that the judicial system will be strengthened and will continue to bolster the system. We wish all the new senior advocates of Nigeria a lot of success. Like Tasholari said, may your road be rough. That's my prayer for them. But we must really ask ourselves these very pertinent questions about the furtherance of our democracy. The likes of Lagos State could do that open house judicial system in terms of Oshibajo and President Tinubu because Mr. Oshibajo was ready to work, and give kudos to that man. He was ready to work. That was not the only thing he did. He also did a lot at revamping the Lagos judiciary. A lot of people forget that Lagos judiciary used to have a lot of problems on corruption. Mr. Oshibajo was part of those, that part of the reforms increased the remuneration of judges as a way of stemming the tide of corruption. So many reforms he could pass was because they could trust him with the system.
Just to add two things. The multi-door courthouse system, or otherwise known as alternative dispute resolution, is not only in Nigeria that it is used. It's in other jurisdictions. They use it in Canada, they use it in UK, they use it in the United States. But what is even more important is that this Chief Justice of Nigeria is not saying something strange. It's actually a constitutional matter. Section 19 D of the 1999 Constitution recognizes alternative dispute resolution. That disputes need not be resolved only through the courts. You can resolve disputes through mediation, arbitration, conciliation, negotiation. Those are the patterns under alternative dispute resolution. So when the CJN draws attention to that, there are many categories like employment issues, like labor disputes, like transaction issues. Some of these things that can be resolved at a private level. You don't need to go to court so that you don't waste the time of the court. And many of our lawyers take frivolous and vexatious matters to the court, matters that could otherwise, be resolved away from the face of the court. So that's the principal point that the Chief Justice of Nigeria was making. The other point that he made is that you can't apply foreign laws in determining local cases. I've seen some of the interpretations there in some of the reports saying that, the CBN is using style to respond to people who were trying to use foreign jurisdiction decisions to determine electoral matters in Nigeria. Well, it's a no-brainer. It's about sovereignty. Okay? If you must apply a foreign law, foreign decisions have what is called persuasive authority. Okay. There is a persuasive authority, but if you must bring a decision from a foreign decision, there are grounds on which you can do it under the principles of private international law. Is it registered? Is it admissible? Is the weight of evidence compelling enough? So the CJN also was talking law, qua law. Thank you. Emmanuel Ifeanyi.
Are we done, or I just wanted to draw your attention to Daily Trust story. Okay. States, local government cry for development despite sharing 8.8 trillion naira in 2 years. Delta Rivers, Akwa Ibom gets lion's share. Okay. The CSOs, FLA leaders failure, but something happened in Delta yesterday. Okay. And I'll tell you, the governor of Delta State, Chief Sheriff Oborowori, had this groundbreaking of construction of 4 bridges in the Efurun Alaja axis. DSC. This is where this young man, I call young man today, he grew up in that axis. And when constructed, those bridges will solve the traffic logjam around that area. So kudos to the governor of my state.
When completed, the governor will commission the bridges.
It's 7 months.
Yes, and I hope we will not come back here and say, why is he commissioning bridges? Is it because Ramaphosa commissioned
historic tap, according to Yoruba. No, but I think kudos to Chief Sheriff for Borough, the governor of Delta State. I'll be in Warri in December, so don't worry, we'll talk about that more.
Okay.
I'll keep a tab on that project.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see you have your interest well vested in this. Thank you very much, Emmanuel Efene.